Hello and welcome to this Scientific Principles video with Elec Training. The generation of electromotive force, or as I like to say, how do we produce electricity? And I introduced you in the previous video to this term, electromagnetic induction. And that's the answer. That's how we generate electricity. It's through electromagnetic induction. And we have to thank for this a scientist called Michael Faraday, and there's a picture of him on an old £20 note. And he gave us a law. It's called Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, and this is it. A voltage is induced in a circuit whenever a relative motion exists between a conductor and a magnetic field, and that the magnitude of this voltage is proportional to the rate of change of the flux. So just to break that down into two parts, he's telling us that we get a voltage when there is relative motion between a conductor and a magnetic field. And then he goes on to explain that how much of a voltage, the magnitude, the size of the voltage, is proportional to the rate of change of the flux. So the rate at which there is a change of the magnetic flux in relation to the conductor will determine the amount of voltage that is induced. We're going to look now at the maths that's involved in that. So this time in the diagram we've labelled up some parts of that diagram, and I'll explain them to you as we go along. So here is the formula, yet another formula to learn, and it is E equals beta LV. E equals beta LV. Now the E stands for induced EMF, which is measured in volts. The beta represents magnetic flux density. We mentioned this in a previous video. Magnetic flux density is measured in Teslas. And then the L represents the length, and length is measured in meters. And the V represents velocity, which is measured in meters per second. Now, we've previously had formulae where we've got a V, and previously we've said that V represents voltage. So to just clear up that confusion, when we have a capital V in a formula, it represents voltage. But in this case, this is a lowercase v, a small v, and a small v represents velocity. So it is important when you're writing a formula out that you recognise whether you're using capital letters or lowercase letters. So it's a small v for velocity. So the formula is E equals beta LV. Now what this means is that we can increase the amount of electromotive force that is induced if we can increase any of these three values. Now I'm going to show you in the diagram, just put my pointer up to the top there. So this is meant to be the letter beta. It's not quite written correctly, but there we are. So this represents the magnetic field, so the lines of flux are flowing north to south. The little V there and the direction of the arrow indicates a movement and the speed or the velocity of that movement in this direction. And then there's another arrow here, and this represents the length, so L for length, the length of the conductor. So in order to generate electromotive force or induce electromotive force, we can see from this formula that we need a combination of magnetic flux density, the length of the conductor, and the velocity or the speed at which the conductor moves within that magnetic field. And you may recall from a previous video that the principle of movement can be achieved either by moving the conductor or moving the magnetic field, or even moving both at the same time, as long as there's relative movement between those two things, between the conductor and the magnetic field. So to increase the amount of EMF that is induced, One way we can do it then is we could increase the magnetic flux density. And we can do that by using more powerful magnets and concentrating that magnetic field into a smaller area, and that can increase the magnetic flux density. And we can see from that formula that anything that's increased on the right hand side of the formula will have an effect of increasing the value E there, which is the induced EMF. So if we increase the magnetic flux density, we will increase the induced EMF. On the other hand, we could increase the length of the conductor within the magnetic field. Now, it's important to understand at this point that it's the length within the magnetic field. The conductor itself may and will almost certainly will be much longer than the part that's within the magnetic field. And that's necessary because the conductor will have to form part of a circuit in order that once we have induced EMF, that current can flow. But some of that conductor is not going to be within the magnetic field. And it's only the part of the conductor within the magnetic field that is going to induce EMF. So the length is the length of the conductor within the magnetic field. If we increase that, we can increase the induced EMF. Well, one way of increasing it would be to just extend the length of the magnetic field, but that's not terribly practical. But a much more effective way to do that is to wind the conductor into a coil. Now, we've seen previously the use of a coil in order to induce a magnetic field. On this occasion, we've already got the magnetic field, but by winding the conductor into a coil, what we do is we increase the length of conductor that can be contained within that particular space between the two magnets in that magnetic field. So it's a very effective way to significantly increase the length of the conductor within that magnetic field, wind it into a coil. The third way that we can increase the electromotive force that is induced is to increase the velocity. So if we increase the velocity of the conductor, or at least of the conductor in relation to the magnetic field, then we can increase the electromotive force. So you see there's three things there that can affect the electromotive force. Now, when the electricity companies are producing our electricity, they're generating it, they obviously need to do it in huge scale. We have very high voltages and lots of electricity that's used, and so the way that it's done, in fact, is to use a combination of these three things. If you do any one of them, you can increase the electromotive force. But if you could do all three of them increased, then you're going to massively increase the electromotive force that is produced. And so the best maximum benefit is to increase all three at the same time. So there we are, that's how you can induce electromotive force, and in the next video we'll do some worked examples, calculations, the sort of questions that you could easily get in your exam. So thank you for listening.